Éikart once said, "Do not expect this world to make you happy, because happiness does not ultimately derive from this world. This world is not designed to make you happy, it's designed to challenge you. And if you believe that this world is designed to make you happy, then you are going to get very angry. And hence, the world continues to challenge you, but you believe that the world is here to make you happy. That's a terrible dilemma. Every challenge that you encounter in this world, and it comes one after another. And because this underlying expectation that something's wrong when you are being challenged, every challenge is turned into unhappiness. And Professor Jordan Peterson says it this way: the idea that happiness is the purpose of life is utterly unrealistic. I mean, it would be great if this happiness comes along. You should be thrilled that it's visiting you. But the notion that that's what you should pursue, that is the weakest possible notion. First of all, as soon as something terrible happens to you, you're done. You think that life is to be happy. Well, now you have a cancer. So how is that? How is the happiness thing working out for you now? Or maybe it's not you, maybe it's your father that has Alzheimer's disease or some damn thing. And you know it's very rare to find someone that doesn't have some catastrophes. And one person away from them say life is to be happy. That's not right. And he added, I am concerned because all you have to do is have your eyes half open and you see that the fundamental reality of life is tragedy and suffering. That's inescapable. That doesn't mean that it makes life unbearable or that makes being something that shouldn't have existed. That isn't what it means, but it means that you have to contend with it and you have to get ready, and the willingness to adopt responsibility for yourself and for others is the precondition for that. And then maybe if you do that properly, then now and then you get some happiness. You know, you can sit at the end of the day and you have half an hour where your conscience is clear and there is nothing that you need to be doing, and you can relax and say that's all right, things are okay, thank God for that. And that's maybe where you get your happiness. And teacher Noah Rashida said many pretty things about this. He said the problem is that in life there's suffering, and that's how simple that is. In life there's suffering, so life has a way of interrupting. This could be the loss of a job, the loss of a loved one, find out that you have a cancer, all the way down to small surprises. You're driving down the highway and your tire pops. These surprises, along with subtle or less noticeable experiences, you know, the aches and pains that come with age or sickness, the frustration of waiting in a long line or simply running late and getting stuck at a red light. These can all be understood as manifestation of suffering, and simply acknowledging that the fact that at any given moment we may face some type of uneasy or uncomfortable experience constitutes the essential lesson of the first noble truth. So life is frustrating and painful. Suffering is a part of life, and no matter how expertly we manage our lives, we still don't get what we want, and we still get stuck with the thing that we don't want. So life is going to be easier for us when we truly understand that suffering is simply a part of life. There's just no way around. It's no matter what we do, we can't avoid the sudden and unexpected surprises that will inevitably come our way. And it's important to understand the universality of suffering, because it helps us not to take things personally when these surprises in life jump up. I think a typical reaction when something happens is, why is this happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? Or I have been doing everything right, this shouldn't be happening to me. I think that these emotions come up because we have this tendency to think that things aren't going to happen to us. Imagine that you are going to go for a walk on a path through the forest at night, and suddenly someone jump out at you, dressed in a bear costume. There's no doubt you would be frightened and surprised, probably even scared to death, right? But imagine that before you started on that path, a friend comes up to you and warns you and says, "Hey, somebody's hiding in the forest. He's dressed as a bear and he's trying to scare people." So you know at some point that guy might jump out and scare you, and you know it's gonna happen to you. You just don't know when. So when it's finally does, you will still be startled, but not nearly as much as you would if you didn't expect it. The same thing happens in life. We go through it without ever expecting to encounter any surprises. And then when these surprises come out, you lose your job, you find out a loved one who has cancer, whatever it is, something pops out at you. And the first noble truth is about understanding that these surprises are going to certainly come. We just don't know when. So simply knowing that the suffering is universal, it's not something that's personally. We don't have to take things personally when things come up, and these surprises will come up. You know, you have been warned that's going to happen at some point. The guy in a bear costume is gonna jump out and scare you. We've all been warned it's going to happen. But when it does, we don't have to stop and pause and think, why this is happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? None of these things have to come up, because you can address these things as they are happening and think, okay, well, that is what is, rather than experiencing unnecessary suffering because we are playing with the idea of, oh no, what did I do to deserve this, or why this is happening? What could I have done at that point? It's what's happening. It's what is, and you just tackle it the way that it is. So the amount of suffering can be diminished simply by understanding that the suffering is universal. Now let's conclude our topic for today by what Sadhguru says. Our experience of life is essentially determined by us, not by what's happening around us. There are situations in the world, family, work, street, many things, nation, world, all kinds of situation. Whatever happens in the outside situation has a certain amount of our impact on our physical lives. Definitely it has, but it does not determine the nature of our experience. The nature of our experience simply depends on how we are. Situations, of course, are dependent on million other people. Your life situation right now, living in your city, what every citizen of the city is doing has some impact on our life situation. But it need not have any impact on your experience of life, because your experience of life is essentially determined by you and you alone, nobody else but you. So it's important to learn how to let go of thoughts and worries. Let it go. The things that have happened to you in the past, the things that aren't happening right now, let it go. If you want to be free, stop locking yourself into the prison of your past. If you want to see the light, stop holding yourself in the darkness of your past. If you really want to move on, release the heavy weight from your back. If you don't want them to win, let it go. Secondly, you've got to learn to forgive. And I loved what Oprah Winfrey said about forgiveness. She said, "Forgiveness is giving up the hope that the past could be any different." You think forgiving means accepting what has happened to you. Well, it's accepting that it has happened to you, not accepting that it was okay for it to happen. It's accepting that it has happened, and now what do I do about it? Forgiving is giving up the hope, not holding on, hoping, wishing that it could have happened any other way that it actually was. Giving up the hope that the past could be any different. And when I got that, I think it took me to the next level of being a better person, because I don't hold grudges for anything or any situation, and neither should you. It's letting go, so the past does not hold you prisoner, does not hold you hostage.